episode of Der Talks About is all you can do with his teeth. And there's wine, and it's still not a great thing, but at least it's different. This time we're talking about how I've been priced out of the wargaming hobby, as some would call it. But no, I've just been priced out of Games Workshop games, for the most part. There are some Games Workshop games that are still something I can get into, like the two vehicle games, Aeronautica Imperialis and Titanica. I can still get in those because the box set is only $100 and you get 2 armies. I can't get into War 40K because a few months ago, I did a video showing you what Warhammer 40K list I would make for my first list and what models I would buy. That list would have cost at that point in time, all in the description down to that video. If you want to go ahead and watch it real quick and then come back, that's fine by me. But that list at that time cost $1,490 or $50, something like that. $1,400. Half of its way under $2,000. Yes, it's because I used high point cost, high money units. So very few units, but they all cost a whole lot of money. Like a good third of them or a good quarter of them were Forge World stuff. Or just big budget miniatures in general. But as you can see here, what? Like, that's nonsense. That's what you can see here, what you can't see over to the side, and what you can't see in front of me as I record this. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Games Workshop? All the models I have bought up to now, all the games I have bought up to now would cost $1,000. More or less. Like $1,400, maybe just $2,000. Still, though, do you not know this difference by now? By looking at what I show you might not. You see, these tanks here, 4 of them is an army. According to the rules that came in the box set, 4 of them is an army. A completely playable army, but you can just play with 2. That's the box set. I got 2 extras. You, and they cost me, drumroll please, $15 each. Actually, not even that. So, for Wolf Tanks Miniatures game, I'm in the hole for around $70 to $80. And I played my first game, which I'll show you here. Whoops. No, yes, that's what I want. Which I played my first game and had fun, and was able to play with 2 entire armies according to the game. And ignore that. If you haven't seen my match, which I uploaded before this, 2 episodes before it, but it's my first battle report. Just look up battle report for Trish Malign and you'll find it. My wood, where is it? There it is. See, this is my first tabletop game ever, because I finally got everything ready to do it, because this table wasn't here before. The couch used to be there. As you can see, the couch got moved. The entire room got moved around just to allow us to have this table here. So I can play full-on mass battle games if I wanted to, like Warhammer. But for my first game, it worked great for Wolf Tanks. My body broke, but whatever. I still had fun. And it was my first, and it cost me $80, more or less. As you can see here, also I have bought I want to say around $200 worth of battle tech, and that can last me. Ooh, that's good for 2 armies plus 1 or 2 actually, maybe 4 armies. Maybe that's good for 4. You know that's one guy. That's $80 and that's one guy because he's classic. But like all these units over here, I ignore the green guys. The green guys don't count, but they still count towards the money. These guys right here come in the box sets, the modern, but the modern Battletech box sets, ignoring the clan one. I believe there's 6 units. That's good for 2 armies and 2 swap-ins. $60. Unpainted. You can still play with them though. They're fully assembled. $60 US. The other one's in US dollars too. And same with that's been for Warhammer 40k, by the way. Based on their side in US dollars. Sites. Forge World in the other one. $60 US can play my first game. And we go, in case you have forgotten, I doubt you have. I have a very small audience. $1,400 is what my first Warhammer 40k army would be. Yes, you can play with less. You can play patrol, which is half as much as needed. You can play with cheaper units, for crying out loud. You can play with units that are pre-assembled. You can, for Imperial Guard, 2 tanks and a ton of conscript and you're good. Maybe a artillery piece. And that would be still around $200. I think. Well, in between 100 to 200. You know why? Because the tanks are expensive now. They're $60 now. So yeah, I mean, even a simple Imperial Guard army is horribly expensive, despite your conscripts are dirt cheap if you can get hands on them, because I haven't been able to get my hands on them ever since the death started happening. Since everyone started catching death all of a sudden. Holding like flags they were. But anyway. Another game I've been getting into is Victory at Sea. I cheated with Victory at Sea. I did not purchase any of the starter sets, which all cost around $100 for a single ship. I mean, no. Let's try again. A starter set costs around $80 for two fleets that will be the main part of your fleet. And then you can get starter sets. You can either start with the box set and expand your fleet from there, or you can start with a starter set, which is $100 each. I know that. And expand your fleet from there. So two starter sets. The book is around I want to call it just under $300. Let's go with $300 just to be fair to Warhammer. I have not done that because I like capital ships. So what I did is ordered a ton of capital ships as they're coming out to play on the channel to make them worth something until I can actually build the things. And you can still play with. I mean, they just want a superstructure. Because they're ships on water. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships and the guide. So in total each ship is around $30, so 30 times 7. I could be wrong, but it's not going to matter. $210. And it's fully playable, to my knowledge. It's fully playable. I also got Dystopia Wars, the starter set. That's $80. I also got the World War III Team Yankee set. That's $60. Noticing a pattern, I did spend more than what I would have spent on my first Warhammer army, spent more or less. Regardless, let's play fair and say I spent double what I would have spent on the Warhammer army without doing the math. Let's be fair. Did you catch how many games I have gotten in the meantime? I have also gotten into Pokemon cards again. That has been by far the most costly factor in all this. Let's say it's 4 times. The price, let's say 3 times the price of Warhammer. So $400 for $4,000. Let's say that over the course of many months. Don't get me wrong. Over the course of many months, do you get the pattern I'm going to yet? Why I've been priced out of Warhammer? It's not that I could not get over time, at least. Over time, it's not that I couldn't get over time. The models, oh yes I could. One of them I can, at least. One of them I can. It's the big boy. It's Proto Imperial. It's Horus Heresy Imperial Guards. Soul Zero, I think they're called. Baneblade, which is amazing. I wanted as my Baneblade. Same rules and everything, just my Baneblade is a Stormhammer. They took that away from me. I knew they would do it. I didn't buy it. It should have been my first model I had bought. But this is why I did not buy it. This is why I'm disappointed in the fact that I'll never have that miniature. I'll never have that model in person unless I get a third-party version of it. Or unless they return it in a new fashion. I hope they're not giving up on Horus Heresy big tanks. But it looks like they are. I'm assuming they are. I'm assuming the worst. Let's hope the best. Let's hope that they're just refreshing them and going to make them better. However, Forge World, look at Forge World. I'm serious. I can show you right now, but go look. Like, it's nonsense. They kind of got rid of all the big tanks on Forge World, except for some came back. Yes, some came back, like the big guns. The big Chili for Imperial Guard came back, which was part of my list. But not my Stormhammer. I will have to search eBay for a Stormhammer, which I tried that before. I found one. Maybe that wasn't much cheaper than the thing. So if I find one pre-assembled but not painted, that'd be fantastic. Well, if I find one painted, I don't care. I'm going to repaint the thing. But at least I'll have one. But regardless, it's gone. And the reason why I don't feel too bad about it is because I don't think I'll ever play one before they the base game. Because I'm pretty sure I will pay as much as I did for everything else now in the current day. Because the price has gone up so much that I've been priced out. I was barely priced in to begin with when I had not many knowledges about the war games, when I was tinkering my own game, watching YouTube videos, and doing my research, reading rule books. When I was doing that, I didn't know I would be priced out of Warhammer. Now, when I see how everything is super cheap in comparison to Warhammer, not cheap compared to video games, there are some that are cheap compared to video games, they are very rare. Wolf Tanks, Wolf Tanks Miniatures game, these guys, are by far the example of being cheaper than the video game. I spent about as much for my, that I would have spent on my army and Wolf Tanks over the years. Playing it over the years, I do mean over the years. Playing the various incarnations of it. And that the miniatures game just makes Games Workshop miniatures game makes Wargaming.net look like a puppy dog that's so generous that gives you kisses and hugs and all that, be cute, compared to Games Workshop. And to be fair, Wargaming and all my experience with free-to-play games is not that bad. It's middle of the pack now. It's always been, it was always kind of high in the middle of the pack, and it's forever going to stay that way, it looks like. There are games that are cheaper than it, there are games that are totally free, but there are many more games that are more expensive of it, and thank goodness they haven't adopted mobile tactics for their mobile games, I don't think. Despite their mobile tactics with sponsoring YouTubers, which by far they're the only mobile game that's actually worth buying, and it's actually worth, getting sponsored by, like I would ever get sponsored. I say that now, but I hope, as desperate as I am, and as needy as I am for currencies, I'm not going to sell myself for it. I'd rather die a good man than live a villain. than live as a bad one. Yes, I am. That's hardcore. But regardless, and I could die if I don't get SSI, government healthcare in America. Yes, we have a healthcare system. And it's better than yours, yes, that's true. But anyway, if you want to argue about that in the comments, please do. Please do. I'd like to talk to you about that. Anything you want to talk about in the comments, please do. It helps the video do better. But yeah, I mean, that's just adding everything up. I've been priced out of Warhammer. I was always priced out of Warhammer. Nothing has changed. It's just that Warhammer has gotten so uncompetitive that why would you play it when you got so many other games? Which is another thing I want to talk about in this video. Sorry for taking it too long. Only 15 minutes, that's not bad for me. But that's another thing about Warhammer. Is people say it's a monopoly. I say how? People say that about Windows. It has 80% of the market. People say that about Apple. It has 50% of the market for iPhones. People say that about. People say that. What do people say that about? People say that about Fortnite. Fortnite's tiny compared to everything else. Compared to the sea of things that just exist that you can play that's not Fortnite. I still haven't touched Fortnite. And I played so many other games that came out after Fortnite. Meaning, I don't think there are hard, fast numbers on the size of Games Workshop and all their games compared to the rest of the market. I don't know. If you have any hard numbers, put them in the comments. However, I do know that they have a ton of competition. If they are the 1% to Games Workshop 99%, the U.S. government can't do anything about it. Because Games Workshop can go, oh, Warlord Games. They're like us. They have a big game called Bowl Action. They have a secondary big game called Victory at Sea. Yep. They all got other games. That's a competitor. And that's done. Then they can go, and if pressure, they can go on point. They can go on point at BattleTech and say their competition. And then they steer their finger and point at, oh jeez, what's another one? What's another good one? If I'm in a local shop, it's with the walkers and the dudes in a fantasy-like setting. War Machine, they point at War Machine, that's big. And then you're like, okay, you may be right, but you're still Monopoly. And then they point at Pokemon and say, how can we be a Monopoly? Look how big they are. And then they point at, okay, so you're what kind of company are you? They say, oh, we're a media company. They point, or they say, okay, so you're a hobby company. They point at D&D. Now I say more. Let's continue. They say, oh, they're a media company. They point at Disney. They point at Nintendo. They don't get started over Microsoft and everyone else, and Microsoft and Sony being giant. But just in case there's any further competition, Nintendo they point at Microsoft and Sony. There is no way a Monopoly case can stick on Games Workshop. They are not Monopoly. You don't have to buy Games Workshop stuff at all. You can buy third-party stuff. You can play Tabletop Simulator. You can just print. You can just take pictures off there and put it on the table. You can draw your own pictures. Even better, just draw your own pictures and pretend that's it. Buy only the rule book. Don't even buy the rule book. There are ways to get around Games Workshop's corporate greed. They're easier to get around than eBay, than EA's. And EA's younger. Less experience. More dastardly. Want that gun, it's in a DLC. Want to play your good game, we're cancelling it. You know, we have a good game. Let's say what minority people want. Let's put it in there. Stuff like that. EA does that. Games Workshop doesn't even touch that. When was the last time Games Workshop said, that D&D's right, we shouldn't have races. The Eldar are just people. So are the orcs. They're all big one happy family who are fighting each other because the orcs fight amongst themselves and they might as well play with the orcs. It's just playtime. They could say that. Like D&D is trying to say. They don't. They don't even do that. I'm not saying Games Workshop isn't bad, nor am I saying it is good. I'm saying that they are... I'm saying the only argument I am disputing in this current time is they are a monopoly. Because they are factually not a monopoly, you do not have to play their games. However, if you do want it, however, I do understand your anger, and I am angry too. I like Warhammer. For an example, Dawn of War 1 was fantastic. It had issues. It's not going to conquer, but by the Emperor, it is better. But by the Emperor, it's better than Dawn of War 3. Whatever nonsense they were trying to pull with that, which is kind of like a tournament, which is they took a game concept, much like the Unspoken Command & Conquer. They took a game concept and skinned it in the skin of a game franchise they shouldn't have. Much like the Unspoken Command & Conquer, which did the exact same thing 10 years earlier, or more or less. Just under 10 years earlier. Even worse. And Games Workshop has been putting their own... They went from choosing who had their IP, like Nintendo does, to putting their IP on literally anyone who is willing to buy it. I could say like Nintendo does, but they don't do that. They got the taste of mobile, and that's all, and that's where it stayed, mobile, for the most part. I don't think there's only been a really bad third-party Nintendo game. I was going to say Mario game, and that's true, but Nintendo game in general. That hasn't been on mobile. And even then, those have been first parties. And Nintendo doesn't give its IP to anyone. Unless they really beg, like Hyrule Warriors, like the people who make Destiny Warriors did. For Hyrule Warriors. They begged, and they can give it back. And they did a good job with it. So they could probably beg and get another one. Games Workshop just gives it to anyone with money, I presume. Like, they give it to Focus Home Interactive, but they've had it forever. They give it to random card developer, I don't know why. They give it to random indie developer, I don't know why. They give it to random person starting a Kickstarter, I don't know why. But yeah, Games Workshop is weird. But it's not nearly the worst company I've ever seen. Activision. Blizzard Activision, my word. Okay, there are far worse companies that exist than Blizzard Activision, but that's my go-to. It's not the best company I've ever seen. It used to be Nintendo. Ignore that. And you know how they changed. They changed. I was not wrong. They changed. Yes. But anyway. However, which best company I know of currently that is good is probably Microsoft and Ford. Ford Motor Company. That's a big company. That's another stipulation because I could just put myself on there. But that would be rude. So other than, and even they have issues, but at least they try. I mean, to be fair, they have reasons to try. They're both not doing so hot right now. And compared to their competitors, it's like them both being gigantic, and the competitors being tiny. Like, have you seen the difference between Apple and Microsoft? He's like pony versus bunny. It doesn't work. It does not work. Oh, no, a better example, Nintendo versus Microsoft. There you go, that's better. And Microsoft versus Sony, that too. Because Apple... I mean, Apple got built, and yeah, Apple's big, but, like, their founder died not a rich man compared to Bill Gates, who's still alive and accruing money as old money. You can even call him old money now, which is basically the reign of kings and queens who have just gotten so much money that they just don't ever lose it. Basically, the oligarchs in Russia are a perfect example. The king and queen of the monarch of Britain is another good example. The emperor of Japan, another good example. Actually, both the oligarchs and emperor of Japan are a better example than queen because they're technically a puppet propped up by the government because they can. Whereas the emperor still does stuff and still accrues money, and the oligarchs control the country when Putin isn't watching. But anyway, I think I'll wrap things up. I think it's 30 minutes. Yay! Yay, and only an hour long. I think I'll wrap things up. So basically, in conclusion, my thoughts are... it sucks. I really won't be able to play Warhammer in the way I intend it. I can play it, but then again, if I wanted to play with the units I didn't want, I could just play Dawn of War 1 with Apocalypse Mod. Because I want to play with the units I do want to have and own and be on shelf and pull out from shelf and play on battlefield, we call a kitchen table. I just can't buy them. I just can't. It makes no sense when compared to so many other good games out there, great games out there, that I would prefer to play over Warhammer because I don't like Warhammer's rules all that much. Including my own, by the way, which my own is completely free. You just need an internet connection. And heck, if you find me on the street, just ask for a copy of my game and I'll give you one. I won't mail you one because that costs money. You can just get on the internet. But like, that's one way I want. Out of a treat, Strategies and Treaties, or just Stream S&T to spread my game, as we all call it. My game is its been nickname. Is I just wanted to spread. I don't care that people give me money. People can give me money. That's just very generous. So far, roughly a dozen people have given me money for first book. That is very generous. You could read book for free, but too many people like having the physical version, so I give them a physical version, and there's no way I can give that for free. And we treat them. Same law. Games Workshop. And by the way, this entire discussion is nothing. I should say to begin with. This entire discussion has nothing to do with. The new streaming service, which is completely ridiculous. Who does that? Oh, Nintendo does that. Except Nintendo don't. Nintendo don't make a streaming service. They would rather you play their games on their console than make a streaming service with content. Although they're changing now, they won't become a media company because Nintendo's always money scared. Like, they're not greedy per se. They just have been starved for money for 200 years. They're going to squeeze out their franchises now because unless they get another good director. But yeah. Whereas Games Workshop is, they've been scared for money too, and the companies that have been scared for money can come out two ways. Two main ways. There are also more. Companies that have been scared for money can come out in two very, very different ways. They can become so scared of money that they don't ever let it go and die with bags of money in their hands, die in gold coffins filled with gold coins and cash to cover them in. But they don't make any more money after that, so what's the point? Or they play smart and don't make anyone angry. Both Nintendo Games Workshop are very scared about money. They're not playing it smart at all. What's the company I mean, small indie companies typically are scared for money, so they're playing it really, really, really smart. Green and Blue is one of those companies, if I do say so. Um, I'm scared for money. I'm playing it smart. I'm not going greed, 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 greed. I'm going, okay, how do I build a community so one day one person gives me some money so I can not die of lack of health insurance? Which, don't worry, I would have died of lack of health insurance if I was British a long time ago, because I don't have the correct medicines I need. In fact, they still don't. It's ridiculous. If the Brits want a healthier system, why don't they pay for it? Why don't they pay for money, pay for doctors? Like, if you're gonna have a free healthcare system, make it the best in the world, so no one complains. And so people want to come to your country and settle there, and then you get more people to pay for healthcare system, and grow your military so you can be free of enemies, so people can live with free healthcare land. I don't understand why they don't do that. It's so weird. But anyway, I didn't get argued about any comments. So that's not here nor there either. But yeah. Okay, that'll be a first video. I better wrap things up as 30 minutes. Keep it a nice, watchable time for people. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. Conclusion, it sucks. But I got other games to play. Sorry, Games Workshop. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate watching on this video. So to me, most of you will check out the rest of the stuff in the description below, such as its various ways to support its channel, so I don't die from the lack of health cares. I promised myself I wouldn't go after it again, but I mentioned it in the video, so whatever. I won't say that again, but anyway. So I won't die from health cares, which I'm saying comedically anyway. So I won't die from healthcare is also your best way to support your channel is, no kidding, watching these videos and using content that we produce, like Deviant Art, my games, everything else I do, or we do actually, because me and my sister are doing this channel now, and also kind of now Jax, which is fantastic. I know we argue, but like that's kind of always been our relationship. It's just, yeah, what you see on TV is how it's always been. So don't worry. But anyway, so yeah, that'll be our first video. Thanks for watching, and I guess. Also, share your friends and anyone else listening to you, because that's the only way this channel will spread, because YouTube doesn't like recommending my videos, and it tells me that. But anyway, and I guess see you in a second.